What is the best restaurant at Disney World? You'll often hear California Grill, Steakhouse 71, Via Napoli, and more brought up in this conversation. But why is no one mentioning Flying Fish? This is the best restaurant at Disney World that no one is talking about. Hello from a very rainy evening here at Disney's Boardwalk Resort. We are here catching the tail end of Hurricane Debbie in Orlando, and I figured what better way to spend this rainy evening than with dinner at one of my favorite spots. Now, if you asked me a few years ago what my favorite restaurant at Disney World was, I would say, without a doubt, Flying Fish. But recently we had a little bit of a shakeup. Narcoossee's opened maybe a little over a year ago, and that has officially dethroned Flying Fish. But Flying Fish is still a really close second. There are some incredible places to dine at the Boardwalk Resort. We've got Trattoria Al Forno right here, probably my favorite Italian restaurant on property and my favorite Italian restaurant in Orlando, maybe. We've also got Abracadabra right here, a fantastic lounge with great drinks, great food, great vibes. And then right next door to that, we have Flying Fish. You hear a restaurant name like Flying Fish and you probably think they have some great seafood, and you'd be right about that. But that is not the main reason that I come to Flying Fish. I think they are serving up one of, if not the best steak on Disney property. We will of course be getting the steak so I could show you guys, but I also want to try a lot more of the menu. Like I said, this place is super underrated, so let's head inside. Now you can probably tell as we're walking in that this is a little bit of a fancier restaurant. It is a signature dining restaurant, so we can expect a little bit of a higher price tag than the restaurants that I usually dine at. But if you're here at Disney World for a special occasion or just want to have a fancy night out, this is one of the top places that I always recommend. Now today I am kind of seated in the middle of the restaurant, but my first time ever dining here, which I believe was back in 2018, I took my family, we dined kind of at a chef's table. It's not necessarily like called a chef's table, but we were seated at a table right up against the grill and the whole kitchen, and it was so awesome, especially for a foodie like me. I love kind of seeing the behind the scenes of everything. It's an open kitchen, you're right up against the grill, you can see them grilling your steak, and you'll even get to like kind of talk to the chefs. So we talked to them and they were like, hey, these are your steaks on right now, and that was just so awesome. So if you get a chance, and I believe there are only tables for like 4 or 6, so it wasn't possible for me tonight as just a party of 1. But if you have a party of like 4 or 6, I definitely recommend requesting one of the tables right up next to the kitchen for a really cool experience. Before we even take a look at the menu, I do want to start off by pointing out these specialty cocktails. Now, I actually haven't had any of these before. This Cucumber Collins sounds good though. They have an old fashioned, of course, a margarita, a gin and tonic, a Manhattan, this little punch here. But they do have another beverage that is not on the menu, and that is, of course, the Espresso Martini, the most important part of business here at Flying Fish. And I have never had the Espresso Martini here at Flying Fish, so I figured this was the perfect time to try it. Wow, would you guys look at this beverage? Oh my God, I'm so excited to try it. It has Stoli vanilla vodka, Kahlua, a shot of Joffrey's espresso, and it's garnished with a lemon twist and coffee beans for $15. All right, guys, my first Flying Fish Espresso Martini. Let's try it out. I should have known this restaurant wouldn't let me down. Now that is what I'm talking about. That is a great espresso martini. It checks nearly all of the boxes. So we've got a solid foam on there, not super thick. I could always go thicker. We have the 3 beans. It's very strong in espresso flavor. There is no cream. It's not very strong in alcohol flavor, but what I really, really enjoy about this is that fresh lemon twist. It adds such an interesting element to an espresso martini, and it's something unique that I don't really see any other place doing. And you would think like lemon doesn't sound like it would go with coffee, but it really, really works. You get a little bit of a bright citrusy flavor, and you could also, like, as you're bringing it up to your mouth, you can also like smell the orange, and it just gives you this like refreshing scent and refreshing taste. This is really, really good. This is going down real easy, guys. And of course, the little Mickey on top is such a great touch. Something super small that just makes a world of difference. I don't know if this tastes even better just because it has a Mickey on top. But while I'm drinking this, I do feel a little bad. I feel like I'm cheating on the Bellevue Lounge, which is like right above us. The bartender up there, Megan, makes a killer espresso martini, and she even makes an espresso martini in my honor. She kind of changes up the syrups and the flavors that she has. So right now she's doing like a banana bread espresso martini, and then she's also doing the right down Main Street espresso martini, which is chocolate raspberry flavored. You guys know I absolutely love the Bellevue Lounge here at the Boardwalk. It's one of my favorite places to just hang out and, of course, get an espresso martini. So if you guys are coming to the Boardwalk and maybe you're not going to dine at Flying Fish, or you want to head upstairs after you dine at Flying Fish for a little nightcap, head to the Bellevue Lounge. If Megan is there, ask her for the Right Down Main Street espresso martini. It is chocolate raspberry flavor and it is so good. But for now, my little lemon twist espresso martini will do. As I was sipping on my espresso martini here, the bread came out, and let me just tell you guys, I didn't even have to lift this napkin open to smell it. This bread has come fresh out of the oven. It is piping hot, and it smells incredible. It's a potato and chive sourdough served with a fresh whipped butter with black sea salt and parsley. Let me tell you guys, I know I say this restaurant is underrated and very slept on, but this is also a very underrated and very slept on bread service. Let's get some of this butter on here and try it out. Did you guys hear that crunch? This bread is absolutely insane. It's super crusty on the outside, very, very dense on the inside. I would assume that has to do with the fact that it's like a potato bread. But yeah, we got the potato in there, the green onions. You could taste just a little bit of the green onions. But what really makes this bread is this butter. You can tell the bread is very, very fresh. You can tell this butter is also very, very fresh. And it's so thick, kind of like the bread. It kind of looks like cream cheese on this plate. It looks more like a whipped cream cheese than a whipped butter. But man, with that fresh sea salt, that black sea salt on top, so good. I always put so much butter on my bread, and luckily since I'm here by myself, I don't have to share my butter with anyone else. My mom always gets mad at me. She's like, share the butter. We always need like two. But I just love the butter here. It's just so good, and it pairs perfectly with this bread. Slept on bread service here at Disney World. I'd say this is top 3. Well, we have got our bread and our beverage here, and we are just off to a fantastic start. Let's take a look at the appetizers here. We've got a lobster bisque, which I've had before. I can confirm it's very, very good. We've got a little bit of a salad, a Hawaiian hamachi, slow roasted pork belly, some artisan cheeses, heirloom tomatoes, and stone fruit, as well as a shrimp cocktail. The pork belly is probably the appetizer that this restaurant is known for, and I can confirm it's delicious. They always pair it with like a fresh fruit kind of puree. It really pairs perfectly with the fatty pork belly. Really, really good. I've had that. I've also had the shrimp cocktail, which, you know, it's shrimp cocktail. It's kind of hard to mess up and hard to make really amazing. So it's pretty average. And then, like I said, I've had the lobster bisque. It's probably, after Narcoossee's now, my second favorite lobster bisque on property. If you're a big fan of lobster bisque, get that here. But I did see something new on the menu that I actually haven't seen before, and of course haven't tried here, the Hawaiian hamachi. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. This has a strawberry verjus, Florida berries, and a black peppercorn yogurt for $18. Now this presentation is fantastic. I always love when they pour like sauce in for a dish table side. It just ups the game a little bit. And before we begin eating, moment of appreciation for the silverware here at Flying Fish. This is a very weird statement, but this is my favorite silverware on property. And just recently when I went to Narcoossee's last, I mentioned that Narcoossee's stole Flying Fish's silverware. It's very distinct because it has a fishtail on the bottom, and Narcoossee's now has the same. So now my 2 favorite restaurants at Disney World have the same silverware. But let's try a bite of this hamachi. I want to get some of that sauce on there. You gotta get all that berry sauce. Try it out. Wow, that's really interesting. I honestly expected this to be a lot sweeter than it is. It's not very sweet. The main flavor that I'm getting is pepper. It's very, very peppery, and I know it has that peppercorn yogurt sauce, but it's like really peppery, and it kind of has a little bit of an after kick. The fish quality is good. It's very buttery, very soft, very tender, and I do enjoy this dish as a whole. It's not something that I would say I would have to like get over and over again, but I'm really glad I tried it. Like I said, it's not too sweet, which I was a little bit worried about. I don't like overly sweet things. The pepper is really coming through, just a little bit of sweetness. I wonder kind of like what else is in this sauce here, because it just doesn't taste that sweet, or as sweet as I was expecting at least. Overall, it's a really, really light and refreshing dish. I could imagine after a day of walking around the theme parks, this is the exact appetizer that I would want to order. I will say, it was a little bit weird eating raw fish with a fork and not chopsticks. I've never done that before, I don't think. But it was good. It was light. It was refreshing. I still think the number one appetizer here, though, is either going to be the pork belly or the bisque. But with all the fresh berries, I kind of feel like that's probably a summer appetizer, and maybe come fall in a couple of weeks, we'll see a different version of that dish on the menu. Now that we're done with our appetizer, we'll take a look over the entrees here. We have the potato-wrapped red snapper, which is what this restaurant is known for. It's their number one seller. It's so, so good. They also have a sea bass, a seafood pasta, a seared scallop dish, the Char Crusted New York strip. They have salmon, chicken, peas, and carrots. They have a miso glazed shiitake, that's the plant-based option, and then they have filet mignon. And if you'd like to add anything to your entrees, you could add a lobster tail, scallops, sauteed shrimp, or octopus. Now, like I mentioned briefly, the potato-wrapped red snapper is for sure a highlight. They take a really flaky piece of snapper and kind of wrap it in like these little potato coins, and it just makes a really good crust. It's crusty on the outside from the potatoes, then super flaky on the inside. It is a fantastic dish. And it's so good, I always want to order it, but I just can't stray away from the New York strip steak. This char-crusted New York strip is served with a potato gratin, green beans, and béarnaise sauce for $56. Typically the béarnaise comes on the steak, but I always order it on the side because this steak is so flavorful enough, it doesn't need any sauce whatsoever. Let's cut into this bad boy. It should be a perfect medium rare. The moment of truth. Pretty spot on. And I mean, seriously, would you guys just look at this char crust on here? It is so flavorful, and it adds so much to the steak. First bite. Heavenly. For a New York strip, the steak is just always so tender. It's always cooked to perfection. And can we also talk about how absolutely ginormous this steak is? Now, it doesn't say how many ounces it is on the menu, but this has got to be, I mean, it's huge. It might be like 16 ounces here, honestly. So it's great if you're looking to share a meal here. This is easily shareable. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this by myself, but man, every time I come here and I eat this steak, I guess I know it's good, but I just forget just how good it is and just how good that char crust on the outside is. It really, really makes for the perfect steak. In case that steak wasn't good enough for you, the sides are just as amazing. I love this potato that they serve with it here. Do you guys remember on TikTok when they were making, like, I forget how many layered potatoes. Maybe it was like 10 or 12 layered potatoes. This is very, very similar. It's kind of like a layered potato here, and it's really good. The potato is just cooked to perfection. The inside is very soft, and then when you get the bits of the outside is just crisp perfection. And kind of in between each layer, they have what tastes like maybe chive Boursin cheese. You get a little bit of like a sour cream and onion kind of flavor in between, and you could tell there's a little bit of Boursin in there in between each layer. It is just really, really good. We've also got some green beans here. Buttery and garlicky, just how I like them. And the best part is they're still crisp. I hate when vegetables get like too soggy and they're overcooked. These are just cooked just right. While I'm eating my steak here, I do have a couple of little menu hacks for you guys. So if you wanted to get a steak, but you didn't like New York strip, and you preferred a filet mignon, but you wanted to try the char crust, which I of course highly recommend, you can also get the filet mignon char crusted. Just ask your server, they should be able to help you out. My friends have done it before, and that's obviously really, really good as well. And another thing you're able to do in case you don't like this kind of potato or green bean, you could kind of change up the sides that come with the strip and change it for the sides that come with the filet mignon, which are a truffle risotto and broccolini. So keep that in mind, especially the char crusted filet hack. I'm telling you guys, the char crust at Flying Fish, I don't know what they are doing to this, but it is just phenomenal. Okay guys, well, I am all tapped out. I had to take like half of this steak home. My server had a good idea. I should make some steak and eggs tomorrow for breakfast and use this steak. That sounds delicious. But as full as I am, I must push on, and I did grab myself a dessert menu here. My server had a great recommendation. On the dessert menu, we have a chocolate hazelnut bar, a vanilla bean cheesecake, Florida sunset, a strawberry cake, and then artisan cheeses. And I was like, oh, a cheesecake sounds kind of good. But then he let me know, if you like lemon desserts, you have to try the Florida Sunset. He said it's his favorite dessert. And it's a light lemon dessert, which is right up my alley. Here we have the Florida Sunset. This has citrus, fresh fruit, and sweet lemon for $13. Can we all admit that the description of this dessert is way off? There's like no mention of cake or really much of what this dessert is going to be like in the description. It just says like citrus, fruit, and sweet lemon. So I didn't really know what to expect. It looks good, but I am a little worried because it looks very similar to a dome cake. Disney loves a good dome cake, and I'm hoping that this does not taste like one. Moment of truth. Similar to a dome cake, but it's very, very light. Under what might be a mousse is a very, very thin layer of cake. You can barely see it in there. And I don't think from this video you can tell just how light this mousse situation is. Well, I must admit, it is a bit reminiscent of a dome cake. It's a really solid dome cake. The lemon flavor is on point. I also like the kind of vanilla sauce that's on the bottom. I could use maybe like a drizzle of some type of strawberry or like blueberry sauce on top. I think a drizzle of that sort would be really tasty on here. Now, I love desserts that aren't overly sweet, and this is definitely a dessert that is not too sweet. Some desserts are just way too sweet. This is really nice and balanced. And since I am so full, I'm happy with how light this is, because I don't know if I would have been able to do a big chocolatey dessert here. Well, we are finished up with dinner, another A+ meal. The total for everything after a 10% annual pass holder discount came out to about $100, which for a drink, an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert at a signature restaurant, it's still expensive. I'm not gonna say it's not expensive, but it's not awful, especially for the high quality meal that we had tonight. Seriously, if you guys need somewhere to celebrate a special occasion, or you're just craving a really, really good steak, a really, really good meal at Disney, Flying Fish, you guys gotta come here. If you haven't before, if you're finishing up a day in Epcot or something, come on over here. If you're staying at the Boardwalk, Yacht Beach, come on over here. And even if you're not, it is definitely worth a trip. Check out Flying Fish. Well, we've got some fireworks going off in the background. We've got some Boardwalk entertainment, but there's one more thing I want to do. I want to check out the store over here and see if they've got any of the Halloween merch. Believe it or not, it's almost Halloween season here at Disney World, and some of the merch came out like a couple of days ago. So I've been wanting to check out the stores. I saw a couple of things that I really liked. Okay, I haven't made it far in here yet. I'm seeing the Halloween Crocs, Mickey's Pumpkin Patch. Not quite sure how I feel about those. But just from looking over here, I don't know if I see anything, guys. Oh, wait. Is that a Halloween bag? Looks like they've got a little Stitch plush, a Starbucks cup, a blanket, this shirt, even though I don't actually see this shirt anywhere. And then they have this bag. But I think this is it. Well, it looks like we might be out of luck, guys. Usually the store here at the Boardwalk is one of the better resort stores. If you're looking for like a piece of merchandise that like sells out or is sold out in the parks or something, a lot of the times you could find it here, but doesn't look like they have much of the Halloween stuff here yet. Well, maybe I'll have better luck searching for Halloween merchandise in Disneyland. I'm actually heading there tomorrow. By the time you guys are seeing this video, I will be in Disneyland, and obviously I can't wait. Disneyland is like my favorite place ever. And of course, I'm not just going to Disneyland. I'm also going to D23. If you didn't see my video, I made like a D23 predictions video talking about kind of what I think is going to be announced at this year's D23 convention. And I'm lucky enough to be going for the second time. I'm so pumped to just be in California in general, but also to be going to D23. But unfortunately, there is one downside to going to D23 this year. And that is that it starts on the same day as Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which usually I love going to the first night, getting all of the new food and showing you guys. But unfortunately, that is going to have to be put on hold this year. I will still be going to the Halloween party, so don't worry. I'll just be going to the third one. So a little bit later on that I'd like, but hopefully you guys still watch my video to see all of the new food and stuff. You guys know I'm gonna be trying as much as humanly possible at the Halloween party, and all of the new Halloween party food looks incredible. And there's not just like new Halloween party food, there's so much food, so much Halloween food in Magic Kingdom during regular park hours as well, which isn't usually the case. So I'm gonna have a couple of Halloween food videos coming for you guys. We'll have the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party food, all the food that you could get in Magic without a party ticket. Then of course, all of the resort Halloween food, which I don't know if you guys have seen yet, but the Haunted Mansion cookies and cream beignets are back at Port Orleans this year. Those cookies and cream beignets are my favorite Disney World snack of all time. They are phenomenal, and I was so psyched to see that they're back this year. So I will definitely be making a trip over to Port Orleans French Quarter as soon as I get home from Anaheim to get those beignets. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff to look forward to on the channel here. If you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see all those fun videos I have planned. Of course, starting with D23, I will be there vlogging the first day, and I can't wait to share that experience with you guys. But for now, I want to thank all of my awesome Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys watching this video at D23 or in Disneyland. If you see me, make sure to say hi, and yeah, I'll leave you guys here. Go to Flying Fish if you haven't already. Bye!